Okay, all your beautiful faces are now being recorded for the rest of eternity, so make sure you're
Yay.
smiling.
Yay.
Okay, so I do want to like update you guys on what's happening with Startup Grind like we normally do, but I would love to start with just what are some good stories? What are you guys working on? What's happening in your chapters? What are some of your like hell yeah humble brags, not so humble? Let's start with you guys today, and we'll get to the other stuff later. Any volunteers?
Well, yeah.
Go.
One is I just found out that 2 of my local startups have been accepted to the Global Startup Program for Global. I'm working with 4 others that I hope I'll get their applications submitted in the next couple of weeks. So I'm hoping 6 or 7 will have applied, and if I can get 3 of us, in, then I will be happy. That's number 1. I'm putting together a delegation from this area. I don't know how many yet to come out to Global. I want to get Global to know who we are and what we're doing here. So there will probably be some economic development people from the state and from the county, etc. And then I just met this afternoon with the local Chamber of Commerce, and they want to find ways to partner with the chapter to bring the chapter to more of the Howard Chamber of commerce community. So, those are some things that are going on here. And I'm also working with Roop in Brisbane on his platform Engaged. We've agreed verbally that my chapter will also serve as a beta test site for his Engaged platform, because as I understand it, Brisbane and one of the chapters in India are also doing the same thing, and I'm very impressed with what they've developed.
Yeah, so that's Australia, right?
Yeah.
Group in Australia. That's awesome. That's really awesome news on all accounts. I see somebody. Oh, there we go. Dan's just telling you how awesome you are, Chris. So you guys know Alex Gordon First. He runs our startup program now. He's new, so some of you might not have met him. But he is like, Chris is Alex's like new favorite person because of how many startups he's getting to come to Global this year. So seriously, Chris, like round of applause for how many people you're bringing into, trying to bring to the startup exhibition. It's awesome. Anybody else bring in some people from your cities that are getting some startups to apply?
Well, I'm getting students, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm definitely start to kick off with some chambers as well to see if we can get some startups for the tent and the startup program for the global. Still don't have real good, strong candidates, but I'm looking as well. And this was one of the questions. I might have a really good speaker who can give. I don't know if we have all around our whole roster, but if we still have a space, maybe I can put you in touch, or the person responsible with one of the co-founders here, and who have been doing presence both in the APAC region, Latin America, and San Francisco as well. And the startup is growing quite a bit, and I think it's a really good opportunity to showcase them and what's happening in this part of the world. So yeah, if that's some of the efforts I'm doing here.
And Martin, tell us where you're from. Not everybody knows.
Yeah, I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico, and land of tequila and mezcal and everything. So yeah, we like to have a lot of fun and be entrepreneurs and enjoy what we do. That of crawl for the win. I'm also on that delegation. We're trying to keep the standards up to what we do on a daily basis. But yeah, I'm from Guadalajara, and it's a city that is growing a lot in the entrepreneurship industry at the moment, and we've been getting a lot of visitors, and Startup Grind has been a great figure in the ecosystem at the moment, as we've had some companies from Silicon Valley come in and put more and more interest in what's happening in Guadalajara at the moment. So yeah, it's good time for Startup Grind to be here. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you're a longtime chapter director as well, several years running.
Time flies, and yes, I've been counting my days, and it's been more than a couple of years now. So
More than a couple of days. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You gotta celebrate the wins, right? We can't just hustle the whole time. That's for sure.
Definitely. Yes. I like.
Who's next? Who wants to tell us all the good things? Phil, what's up in Michigan?
Well, we've been having monthly meetings. I'm getting a different speaker every month. I got one I've got to put on our website in a day or two for November. I haven't done it yet, but yeah, I mean, just same old thing.
Just the usual grind. That's cool. All right. Not bad. Henry, what's up in Vancouver?
Well, I had a chance to meet G when he came through Vancouver, I guess about 2 weeks ago. And we just talked about the Vancouver in general, what's happening here, where the opportunities are. And we're looking to open some university chapters. So one thing he mentioned was the workshops and panels. So I actually have a question about the workshop and how that would be structured. I don't know if you have any information on that in terms of how we do it with that, how we kind of like, we partner with other groups, or do they come under our banner? How does that work?
Yeah, so we did like 3 months this year, we just experimented. So with some of our chapters, if people wanted to test it out, we were like, can you be our guinea pigs and let us know what should it look like? So it's pretty open right now of what it could be, but we would always want it to be under the Startup Grind banner, even if it's somebody from, affiliated with another organization that's coming in, kind of like you have a guest speaker come in. They're from another organization, but they're under the Startup Grind brand.
Right. And how would the ticketing work? Would you use the Startup Grind ticketing system if they're, for example, if they're running their own workshops? How would that work?
You would just have this one be like a special instance through Startup Grind. So even if they do it separately, run it through the Startup Grind system, platform, marketing, all of that.
Right. The other thing is that just a couple of weeks ago here, there was the AR/VR conference. So supposedly Vancouver is the fastest growing AR/VR community in the world outside of San Francisco.
Nice.
I thought it was China, but it's actually here. And so we're looking to bring, for the Global Entrepreneurs Week, we're looking to bring in the chapter director of the AR/VR Association. They'll talk a little bit about what's happening here, yeah.
Are they going to bring some demos so you can act like you're in space, or there's like animations popping up right during on stage?
Actually, like here it's called like the BC Tech Association. So what they have is like a space where they call it the Cube, and people can come in there and do like demos and whatnot. And so during the conference, they actually had a delegation come over from Korea. So it's a little bit of like a culture exchange and kind of like a learning type trip. And so we're trying to bring some of those organizations and link them up with Startup Grind and see what we can do together.
Sweet. That's awesome. All right. Who wants to go next? Yes. I don't know your name, actually.
Why can't I change? How do I change my name here? Wait, I should have done that before. So I'm Nanette from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
That's right. Puerto Rico.
And let me see. Yeah, well, I'll change it later. Now you know. Nanette from San Juan.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
And so over here, the startup ecosystem is super, super tiny. It's very early. So for us, it was super tricky right after the hurricane when we launched the chapter to get people to come to our fireside chats. And at first, well, the first one was a really big event. It was like the very first thing that happened after the hurricane. Everybody just came out. And it was awesome. And after that, we saw it was a little tricky to get people to come just because it's kind of the same faces that people already see. Mm-hmm. So we started to try something. The first time we did it was in May, where we have a 3-people panel. And what we do is we grab somebody that's a familiar face, like 1 or 2 of the panelists are people that are already kind of known. And the other ones are people that we know are really good resources, but they aren't that well known. And that is starting to work really well. We got some press last week because we did an investor panel for SG 300.
Nice.
So that was really good. So I think we're starting to create a lot of buzz. Already spoke to somebody in Ponce, which is in the south. They want to start a chapter over there. And then there's some student representation also that might come in. We don't know yet.
No, I
So
love it.
Yeah.
You're making it work with where you live, right? Not everything works in every location. So, it's kind of like you got to get creative.
Yeah, no, but we've definitely been figuring it out.
That's cool. I love that. Kudos.
Thank you.
And things are getting rebuilt, okay? After that.
Yeah, kind of. In different places they are. There's some places that are worse than others, but yeah.
Good.
Slowly but surely.
We got Jerry, we got Sylvia, we got Jake, we got Jose.
Okay.
What's going on, people?
You got me up there as Gerbro. My name.
Jerbo. Should we start calling you that now?
I'm Brother Jerry. We got the award, I think, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I've been getting usage of playing with the dashboard has been very interesting, challenging, and fun. But also the main thing too is getting some very interesting fireside chapter entrepreneurs lined up here in the Frederick area. In fact, yesterday I had a meeting with the local Frederick County Bank, the vice president for outreach, and she volunteered to have the president. Well, she's making the connection to the president of the bank here in Frederick to be probably our third speaker sometime, probably in the January timeframe. Cool. And I think that would be a real kudo to get somebody like that that's so local, and the bank is very local to the area, and it's well known. It's only 5 branches, but it's a very community-driven organization focusing on entrepreneurs. So that is, I think, a nice catch for us to have as one of our side chat people. Plus,
and have you guys had your first event, Jerry?
No, November 13th.
Okay.
And we have one of the really beginning IT people here in the Frederick area who's well known as our first fire chat person. So we're starting to get people to sign up and to also to register for Startup Grind here in Frederick. So looking forward to it.
That's good. You got a pretty decent co-director.
Who's that?
Chris?
Chris?
Chris, right?
I agree.
He's all right.
Yeah, I sure do. He's been a real help here.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Any other? I mean, you're all going to go, so you just might. Yeah, Jake. What's up?
I'll just go. I came in late, so I'll go. Not a big deal.
Nice.
So we're actually prepping for our largest startup grind ever so far. So in November, we're having ours on November 14th. We're hosting he's the heir to the second largest privately held company in the world. They're headquartered in Wichita. And it's really cool because I didn't hustle him. They called us actually and asked us if he wanted to be on stage. And so it kind of shows how our community is really supporting Startup Grind. So we're close to 300 tickets sold right now for that event.
Wow.
And so it's incredible. It'll be interesting. So they have like security and all this stuff. So it's a lot of fun, but it shows that our community is, supporting Startup Grind in a big way. And he has something to say because he hasn't spoken publicly in Wichita, but maybe once in the past 4 years. And so this will be really, really intriguing how it goes. And so that's been good. I'm helping the Startup Grind Wichita State chapter, so our university in town, helping them get launched. And we're actually going to announce them on stage on our November Startup Grind. And then we're partnering with them on an event in February with a Wichita State alum to do one together to kind of help demonstrate how we're both together with Startup Grind, but we're also separate organizations too, in terms of we're going after 2 different demographics when it comes to our audiences, because there's been some confusion once they went public with theirs in Wichita. But other than that, though, we're still going strong, and we're having fun.
That's awesome. I mean, I love what you're doing in Wichita because the size of the city. So it's less than 300,000. You guys are a Startup Grind X.
No, we're a Startup Grind Classic.
Are you Startup Grind Classic?
Yeah, because we formed ours in January 2017.
So it was before we did X.
Yeah, it was before you guys did X. Mm-hmm.
But technically, you would be an X. But you guys are doing.
If you go, our MSA is over 300,000, but Wichita itself is under 300.
I mean, it's kudos. It's props to you guys of the level of people, the amount of people you're getting to come out to your events.
Well, thank you. It's
awesome.
It's good. And our holiday bash we're going to do in December. We're going to do O shift moments. Not so we can't really say shit. So we're saying O shift, and so we've got. I think we have 10 startups from the area that are going to share their O shift moments of 2018, and then we're just going to throw a party.
That's fun. I like that. I love the O shift moments because they're the real stuff, right?
Well, I recently had a conference that I put on locally called Shift ICT. Our ICT is our airport code, and so our hashtag was Shift Happens, and so kind of playing on that. Anyways, I do have a question though. So the local American Marketing Association, I believe the local chapter in Wichita, reached out to me, and they're hosting this guy who is his title of this presentation is. Developing a marketing budget develop a marketing plan on a shoestring budget. And they wanted to offer a discount to our Startup Grind community. And I wasn't sure if I can use the email distribution to say, hey, these people are offering this discount to our group. It's not through Startup Grind. I just wasn't sure what we could do with that.
Yeah, for sure. Feel free to. I mean, it just sounds like a partnership.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, they support their chapter members support our Startup Grind all the time. They're there at like every event we do. So they came to me and said, "Hey, we'd love to offer a discount because this guy we're bringing in is world renowned." So, anyways,
nice. Yeah, go for it.
All right, awesome. Thank you. That's all I need to know.
Cool. We got Gabriela in here from Honduras. Welcome, Gabriela. We're just doing like a round table.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Tell us what's going on in your chapter. What's happening in Honduras?
Well, we were 3 different fireside chats, one in June, another one in July, and this Saturday is our third Startup Grind.
Nice.
Yes.
On a Saturday. Have you done one on a
Saturday?
Have you done that before?
What?
Have you done them on a Saturday before?
Yes. The last 2 was on Saturday.
Wow, okay. And how does that, I'm always curious about that. How does that work on a Saturday?
Well, we have a lot of attendance, like 15 and 20. This Saturday we spent a little like 100, maybe?
Cool.
Yes. It's very popular. Yeah, this program is very popular here in the US. And we have a lot of, how do you say that? Support with our community, with entrepreneurs and other programs and other partners like Under a Startup and another thing.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kudos. Who else wants to go? Kenny, welcome. We've been waiting for you.
I'll go a little bit. Like I said, I'm Zarin.
Hey, Aaron.
So, like I said, I'm coming back from little issues, but hopefully, I said starting next year, I'm getting things together. One of the speakers I'm hoping to have, and he pretty much agreed to it. It's just haven't put it out there yet. Is the Chief Technology and Innovator Officer at JPL, which is Thomas Strumser. so I'm hoping
sounds official.
Yeah, exactly. It's this guy. Here you go. See. So anyway, but so that's one of the ones I'm trying to pull up out of the woodwork. So hopefully I'll have more information for everyone by next. But I do another question. We run what you call Connect Week, which is basically some people call it Startup Week or some people call it and things like that. That is something we can promote through Startup Grind, right, to our members.
Yeah.
Okay. Or any type of sort of events that we're a part of or something, or just announcing for the because the whole point is trying to not only build up Startups Grind brand, but also the ecosystem in our area. So I want to know if we're able to put those type of events out for local events. Okay, I just want to make sure.
I think that helps. It's kind of like whatever ecosystem you're in, that you help them, they help you, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And then I know a lot of startup grinds have some of their events during their city startup week. So always feel free to do that, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Nanette is back, coming in here. All right, who's got something? We've got Jose, Colombia. What's going on in Medellin?
Yeah, Medellin. Our next
Medellin.
event is this Thursday. We are going to have the first neobank in Latin America. They were made by the huge man in Colombia. The actual the bank put themselves a new bank just to kill themselves in 10 years. So we're going to interview the CEO of this new bank and see how this is going and how it works to try to kill your dad. So that's what we were trying to do it.
So they're kind of trying to innovate themselves before dying.
Yeah,
is that it?
They create their own competition. So they knew that the banks here, the people here in Colombia doesn't trust their banks. So we don't have things like Venmo, PayPal, and those kind of things. So this bank, it's called Nequi, is the first of his kind in Colombia and the first in Latin America that way. So they are working hard to be a great new bank.
That's awesome. That's a big deal. Yeah. Kudos. And Colombia's taken off lately. I mean, we have so many chapters opening in Colombia. So
yeah. But I think the guy from Barranquilla is working well. But I haven't. Tomorrow I'm going to meet the guy from Bogota because they're having some event here in Medellin. But I want to talk to him to see how their meetings are going because I haven't listened to it for a while.
Good luck. Yeah. It's good to see chapters, especially in different countries, connecting and helping each other out. And I know there can be a lot of synergies either with speakers or helping people that are new to the Startup Grind game. So I know you've been really helpful to some of our newbies. Thank you. Speaking of newbies, Dan, what's going on in Virginia?
Lots of stuff is going on in Virginia. I'm just trying to get everything wrapped up so we can get our first event scheduled. I had 2 locations that ended up falling through, so working on nailing down a location. But I think we've got it locked in, especially if I can shift my dates a little bit. We talked about that earlier, but instead of doing it during the Global Entrepreneur Week, trying to see what we can make of the week after, which happens to be Thanksgiving week. So I anticipate a smaller turnout than what we would like to have because of that. But the location that we're working with is ideal. We've landed a spot with the Hilton here right off of Interstate 95, which is right next to a tech-focused co-working space that's opening up next summer. And it's in the heart of the corridor between DC, Alexandria, and the southern portion of the counties here, which is the big commute route. So I really like that location. It's a little bit more than I wanted to pay for a location, but it's okay.
Maybe once you get running and they're seeing the growth, they'll end up being a sponsor. Or you can convince them to be a sponsor. Well,
yes, and that's my hope. They're certainly not. Well, they've not charged me anything for the space. You know, all the fees come with adding a cash bar and food to the event, AV equipment, etc. But it's not that bad. And then we're still working on our speakers list. I've reached out to Mark Rockefeller of Street Shares. You and I spoke about that previously. They're a military-focused access to funding or venture capitalist in DC. And then the Mission Barbecue founder is up in Maryland. So if Chris I'm sorry, Jerry, I think it was, either of you have connections, I've got his email because he told me he doesn't really spend much time on LinkedIn, and I emailed him, but I haven't had a lot of traction there. I'd be interested in speaking with him. We have in the South here, we have a ton of veteran business owners serving the government and barbecue. So,
hey, Dan,
yeah.
listen, anything that I or Jerry can do to help you, get up and running, as seamlessly and as painlessly as possible, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay. That's
awesome.
We're here for one another, and I've got a couple of ideas for some kick-ass speakers that are right down in your area. So when we're offline, you and I can talk a little bit more about that. Okay?
Absolutely. And I sent you a LinkedIn request already, so
cool.
We'll definitely connect. I really appreciate that. Any help I can get, literally we're a couple weeks in, so. Any help I can get is wonderful. And one of the things I asked Candace earlier for, and if anybody local would like to send me an example of what they're doing for sponsorship tiers, I'd be interested in just seeing what you found to work for you so that I can kind of guide my tiers before I start sending them out.
That was one of the hardest things for me as a chapter director, because we have the sponsorship decks and we still have them now on help.startupgrind.com. But because every location is different, it's kind of like, well, crap, what do I do with this city? What's gonna fly? What will people not think is ridiculous, but not sell yourself short? So I was definitely selling myself short before, and I got some feedback from a local entrepreneur that was like, you need to charge double for that. And then people started just buying, actually, once it was at a higher level. It's like, so sometimes it's a trial and error thing. I don't know if anybody else wants to share your experiences with sponsorships, what's worked, what hasn't. Everybody feel free to interject at any time.
Yeah, with in Wichita with our sponsorships, we were falling into the place that we were going to the same people over and over and over again for sponsorships. And so we kind of adjusted some stuff. We actually upped our ticket prices by $5 more, and nobody got mad about it. And so that helped a lot with some cost. And then from a sponsorship standpoint, we tried to get a little bit more creative with what we were going to be providing them on the things, and we also worked with them on how they may have it's like the sponsor say, hey, do you have a speaker, maybe one of your customers that's had a lot of success as an entrepreneur that you may want to have on stage at Startup Grind? And then we have some parameters, obviously, of who they would have on stage, but that's the way we've actually landed a lot of our speakers is we went to our sponsor and said, hey, why don't you highlight one of your customers on stage for some success that they've had? And so that kind of allowed us to get sponsorship dollars, but also get a pretty good speaker too, because they would dig deep into their customer list and find somebody.
That's a very interesting hack. Nice workaround. And what do you charge now for your tickets? Can I ask?
$15. And then 15, they get two drink tickets and food. So we have appetizers, but I get a lot of stuff donated for the most part. My event space is donated. Food, I get a discounted rate depending on who I go to. And then drinks, I get a discounted rate from the venue we do it at, because they just like having exposure. And then sponsorships, I'm charging between $1,000 and $2,000 an event when we host them, and we just do one sponsor is what we do.
Nicely done.
So that's kind of how we adjust it. And there's certain sponsors that I work deals with and everything because they just are really good at the community.
Cool. Okay, so you're charging per event and just having one sponsor as opposed to doing like yearly memberships or yearly.
I've tried the yearly thing, but Wichita, it's been difficult because that's our market is, and Startup Grind's not a nonprofit, but they look at us as like a nonprofit in the community because we're supporting entrepreneurship. And so when it comes to that, we dig into a different type of budget for them. And so it's like, oh, well, come to me in June when our fiscal year is coming up, or come to me with this and that. And so I've just been going event by event more than anything, and it's been working so far. The way we do it, I think I'm going to probably run out of time with that, but I've had like a lot of people are now coming to us and saying, hey, we'd love to sponsor this. So we're starting to speak, because we get on average between probably 100 to 175 people at each one of our events. And so that gets exposure for them to a crowd they want.
Crushing it, Jacob. Love it. That's awesome. Anybody else have thoughts on sponsorship? What's worked? What you guys have tried? What hasn't? Just screw it, pay for everything yourself until you're right. What about you, Sylvia? What's up in Ecuador?
Hi, everyone. Ecuador. Gee. Well, this month we're having our startup grind on the 30th of October. So we are doing a Halloween edition, which has taken lots of balls from us because, you know, Halloween is a day that everybody fights over when it's about events. So we made it a Halloween edition and have invited everyone to get dressed for that day. And we are getting dressed for that day. And we convinced our speaker to bring something on for that day too. So our speaker is he's called Agustin Febres Cordero, and he just closed a deal with the DDB, which is the marketing agency publicity brand, worldwide publicity brand. So now DDB is officially in Ecuador because they've had this alliance now.
Cool.
So yeah, and because of it, DDB has taken the agency and has allowed them to do a lot of projects in collaboration with other countries in South America. So it's really exciting what they're doing, and they're, you know, they've kind of literally lived with that. Literally just had a huge jump with that. We're also having 2 spotlights that day. One is from Susana Cordova. She's one of the producers of a movie called Por Siempre Chapo, which is the Chapecoense is a team of football that crashed, and they had a very interesting story. They had survivors, and she's from Ecuador, and she was picked for the team to produce the movie. So it's very exciting what she has to tell us too. Yeah, she already warned us we're gonna cry. And then our second spotlight is a girl called Stephanie Wright, and she is not a businesswoman. She's sort of getting into the edge where she's jumping into becoming a full businesswoman. She's really an entrepreneur who started from scratch. And she has a beautiful concept on how to align authenticity with the product lines, whichever product line you're producing. So she's bringing that over and making a spotlight about that. And we're having entrepreneurs too. We, thank God, a couple of months ago, I have a couple of influencer friends, and I was going to tell you about that because it's sort of funny how we got these sponsorships. And they always invited me to their influencer stuff, you know, like party stuff. And I was like, it just seemed like a lot of fluffiness for me to go to. So I ended up deciding to go to it. And I said, I'm going to get sponsored from this no matter what.
Take advantage of
now, I don't pay for alcohol anymore.
Kudos.
Yes, it was awesome. I cannot explain. I got to the party. I started hanging cards. I started telling everyone, I'm Sylvia Bermudez. I'm director for Startup Grind, powered by Google for blah, 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 blah. And I talked like crazy like I always do. And now I have 3 people that are giving me drinks for free. One of them is a gin, which is awesome because they come with fruits and stuff, and everybody gets drunk from them, and everybody's super happy and excited about entrepreneurship.
I love it.
And now we recently had a beer, which we tried to convince at the beginning of the year, and they wouldn't budge, and they wouldn't budge. And we saw them helping all other kinds of entrepreneurship events, and they wouldn't help us. So we were very like, we're gonna get them. And and we talked to like the cousin of the owner and the owner and like everyone all around them. And finally they saw that this other brand of gin was very much being, very, they just decided to, they literally told us like, we're just gonna be sponsors for you in every event. And then since then they sponsor us too. What do you know? So now we have 2 drinks and a third one for this event, which is a really kind of like childish, we called it a childish drink because, we're South Americans and we start drinking from age of 14, 15. So yeah, sorry.
This is the judgment-free zone. This is the judgment-free zone.
So it's this weird vodka, colorful drink, which comes in red and bright blue and bright
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Hey, they are great for shots, and they're all for free. So we've got 3 already.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Everybody's getting
Kudos.
guaranteed.
Kudos.
We also have food covered for the rest of the year, so we're done there too. Yeah, we've been very lucky, and
awesome.
hopefully we've made a presentation for a bank to sponsor us, which would be amazing because that would be actual dollars coming in, but we don't know yet. But we've been talking for the whole year. So when I went there initially, they were excited about the idea of Startup Grind, but we didn't really have anything to prove yet. And now we do. We have been very much, we get about between 60 and 140 people per event. We do have, and I was going to tell you guys that we have alliances with all universities around and all colleges, and we try to give them maybe 1 or 2 tickets for free so that they tell their students and everything, and that's working quite well for us. We also have an alliance with Girls in Tech, which we love.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome.
And
cool.
Yeah, so we've been trying to push it hard also. I don't know if we're going to get to the party in December, but Halloween is supposed to be really good. And we also got the government to lend us a park.
Okay.
So we are doing it in an open park, which is beautiful. Hopefully people will come. I'm like trembling. I'm like, this better work.
I'm going to be there, man. This sounds like a heck of an event. Very cool,
Well,
Sylvia. Thank you.
You're going to have fun.
So the last person we haven't heard from is Julio. What's happening in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, give me a second.
Still on the metro.
Yes, I have. At least I think I have only 2 more stations.
Hola, buenas noches.
Well,
¿Cómo les va? Mi nombre es Florencia. Voy a compartir canciones con ustedes. Lo primero que voy a compartir es...
All right, guys. Well, this has been awesome to hear what's going on with all of you. We want to, not keep it so business and, just updates, but, actually hear what's going on with everybody. So amazing to see what all of you guys are doing. For our brand new directors, for the people that have been here a long time, and everybody in between. So awesome to hear what you guys are doing. You should be freaking proud of yourselves. Nicely done.
I just want to have an update. Sorry. I'm just dumping in.
Hey, G, how you doing, big guy?
What's up, everybody? How's it, guys? Quick question I want to actually ask is Aaron. I don't know if many people know on this chat, but Aaron had, how's it going with your health, buddy?
Well, as I told everyone, but I am cancer-free. I don't know if you guys have heard. So, yes.
That's incredible, man.
Thank you for asking, G. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
I was like, hey, Aaron, you're still alive.
I know. I haven't been to these things for a while, so I was always like, maybe I'll show up, but I'm not doing anything, so I don't want to look sad.
That's okay, man. That's okay.
Aaron, we always love to see your smiling face.
I love you guys.
For sure.
And for those that don't know, I think a lot of you, actually, I think many of you were at Global 2018, but that guy's got the second, well, maybe the best voice. He's a bit of a tie-off between Candace and Aaron. They're like,
Candace has got a voice. That's all that
she's got a voice.
That's right. We got to do a duet. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what that means. We got to do a duet.
2019 Global, definitely.
You and me.
That's right, buddy.
Wait, you did Purple Rain, didn't you?
I did. I did Purple Rain.
Yeah, I remember you.
I think it was better than the original. I'm going to go with that.
Hey!
So yeah, guys, a good question on that note is who's planning on coming to Global 2019? Sweet. Okay, that's freaking awesome. Let's start there. So first of all, if you're coming, start thinking of your karaoke song because we typically do karaoke. If you are not into karaoke, just start practicing. You have like 3 months to, be D's.
The sushi place next door is awesome, by the way.
Seriously?
Yeah, I went there. I stopped in there when I got had a little bit too much to drink. I went and grabbed sushi. It was awesome.
Smart move. Smart move. Okay, sweet. So sushi and karaoke, mark your calendar. Okay, so everything for Global is at global.startupgrind.com. I'm typing it in here. Pretty easy to remember, but just in case, you got it there in the chat. All that you need to know is going to be on that website. G and Bruce especially have been revamping our whole website, changing our whole process to make it much more easier and streamlined for all of you guys. So shortly, we will be sending out this form for everybody to fill out, which is kind of like everything you'll need to know, everything we'll need to know from you about Global. So where do you want to stay? What dates you will be there, your t-shirt and hoodie sizes, days you're coming in, when you're leaving, who you want to room with, all of those things. So in terms of lodging and accommodations and all of that, you can start checking things out at global.startupgrind.com, and then you'll be able to pay and take care of that when we send out the link here in a week or so. But there's options anywhere from like bunk beds, shared room, kind of hostel style, 50 some bucks a night, or is it for the whole week? 50 for the week.
It's 50 for the whole week, and it's for the hotel it's $250 for the whole week. To put it into perspective, it's $289 per night, and you're only paying $250 once off for the whole week. So Startup Grind is going to be sponsoring you guys accommodation for the rest of that time. So,
hey, G, which hotel are we going to be at? Same one as last year. Excellent.
So and then if you guys want, you can always do, like some people do an Airbnb or whatever, or you can do your own thing anytime. This is just what we set up if you want to take advantage of it, but feel free to do whatever's convenient for you. Any questions on Global or anything else to add?
One statement that I must just add to that is that last year we booked 40 rooms and we were basically sold out at the end. This year we're booking 40 rooms again, but the community has doubled. Last year we were 300, we're now going to be 600 chapters. So it's first come, first serve. The minute the thing goes out, if you want a room, you better book it ASAP on that link. Because once it's sold out, we've only got those 40 rooms. We weren't able to get more. IBM is having a massive big conference, and that's why the costs and the space is all taken up. And yeah, okay. So just FYI.
So hustle when it comes out.
Okay, Julie got it.
Who was that? I missed
it. Was me, Martin. It was fully taken.
It sounded super official, like Roger. Got it?
Roger that.
Cool. Okay. So, and then in terms of the startup program, so we know that you guys, Chris is crushing it down in Maryland. I do just have to give a quick shout out for Dayton. We have one startup that's been accepted into the program this year. So feeling pretty excited about that. But keep trying to direct your startups there. And the place to direct them is startupgrind.com/startup to apply. But then all of the information that you guys need to, talk to people is on help.startupgrind.com here.
Candace, is there a place that we can go find out if people are registered? Because I had like 5 companies from Wichita that said they wanted to do it. And I know one of them got accepted, and I know a few were waiting to hear. So I wasn't sure. And I know because is TD no longer with Startup Grind? And so that's the thing, is they were not getting communicated with on a couple things. And so I told them, I think TD's gone. And so I didn't know, they were asking me if they were in or not. And I was like, I have no idea.
And they still, I remember you reaching out to me about that. And I think that was the week that TD was leaving. And Alex was like, we're still transitioning a bunch of stuff. I'll get back with that.
I know one's in, that's in, but I know there's a couple other waiting for a response.
Well, let me follow up with him again on that and see what the status is.
If you do want to know, just for anybody else, just drop an email to Ford. Obviously, then Candace or whoever will get back to you. But we just know that we are going to be, it's going to take a while, maybe only next year, maybe this year. We're still figuring it out, but we're going to try and open it up more. So there's actually a visual dashboard. So we really want to open that up a lot more than what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't guarantee anything until after Global. So.
That's fine. Thanks, G.
The great thing about the startup program is they're revamping the whole thing, and their team, which was once like TD and maybe 2 other people or like a part-time person, it's now like 5 people all around the world. So kind of similar to the community team, they're expanding their presence all over the world so that we can connect more startups and really make our startup program more robust. So it's kind of in the beginning stages of that regrowth. But any questions about the startup program? There are going to be some incentives coming out of what's in it for you guys to be directing people to apply and if they get accepted. So keep an eye out for that. That's coming soon. That will be coming from Alex.
So this one more. So I do have a question. So the startup is still going on? Because I wasn't sure if it got closed out. Because I got So, but it's still going on. People are still being accepted.
They're still being accepted.
Okay. What's the deadline?
That's a great question. I don't know. No idea. Do you know, G?
The current deadline, there isn't an official deadline, but let's put it this way, ASAP would be the deadline. But let's just say the deadline is by the end of this year, because they've got to get visas and all that. Okay, the American right?
Not here.
So visas aren't a major issue, but it's just at the end of the year. The first 2 weeks of January normally typically was the last time. But just tell them the end of the year. That'll be. We'll get official word on that.
That's a great point. What is that deadline? But I know they're looking for like 200 to 300 startups. I think it's 300 startups that will be accepted. So should be pretty sweet.
And how many do they have now?
That I don't know either. Great questions, guys. I can find that out though. I'll let you guys know.
We're going to be moving forward, one member of the startup program will be on these calls. The team's brand new, so they're still figuring things out. But from the next time, they will be on here, which will be able to answer all these questions and help you with getting people in, etc., etc.
I think Alex is going to be in our region, so he should be joining. It's like, and I don't know how G you do this because it's 1 a.m. there in Cape Town, like a freaking boss. It was too late for Alex in London, and he's an hour ahead of you. So, crushing it. Those are some of the big things. The startup program. And did you guys see the announcement that Google for Entrepreneurs has changed to Google for Startups? So it doesn't really change anything for us. All of that's the same for us, except all of our logos and branding. But beyond that, everything will stay the same. So, it doesn't really matter if you get new banners. Most of us will have the same Google for Entrepreneur banners for quite a while. If you're new, like Dan hasn't gotten them printed yet, no worries. Wait until the new branding comes out and then get them printed. But for everybody else,
I do have a question. So since it's been narrowed down to Google for startups, will that kind of worry a bunch of people who are just entrepreneurs and just want to learn about being an entrepreneur just in general?
I think not so much, no. It was like, how can they consolidate all of their programs under one umbrella that were serving startups and just make it easier for their own internal teams to keep their programs aligned, all the different programs and opportunities and services that there are for startups. That was kind of being missed by Google for Entrepreneurs when it was only under that bucket.
I was just going to add that if you look at everything that Google has been doing recently with the shift from Google AdWords, for instance, to Google Ads, they've been consolidating a lot of their programming and trying to refocus a lot of their efforts. So I think it's just a streamlining effort from them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that is 100% correct. However, the person that came up with entrepreneurs, they were just so tired of typing that in every single time, so that's why they made a short version.
Is that really it?
No.
Oh, it's like,
entrepreneurs was a very long word, and they were they are consolidating, so Danny is correct. It is about the consolidating, but it's also more aligned. They found that they not actually working so much with entrepreneurs, they're working more with actual startups. It's the second one, and the third one is with the streamlining, who they're actually working with under one umbrella, and then the word is really long, so that actually was taken into consideration for changing the name. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
So basically, they pay per letter, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you go with that. Yeah.
Candace, I've got to jump off. I've got a client call at 7:00. So, guys, I'll talk soon. Okay.
Talk soon, Chris. Good to
See you,
see you.
Chris. Bye-bye, Chris.
So, okay, a few other quick things to highlight, and it sounds like you guys already know this a lot. So our year of plan, the rest of the year plan, we don't have too much going on except for next month is Global Entrepreneurship Week. So is everybody having their event during the second week of November, November 12th through 18th?
Yeah,
Dan, you're freaking out. You're I'm just kidding. If you can't make it work, you can't make it work. But if you can, try to make it work. All right, who's that week? 12 through Kevon, Shania, Jose, Julio. What's up? Sylvia? No? Okay. Shame.
The week of November 6th.
That's when yours is?
Shania, the week of September 6th.
November?
November 6th. Oh, I'm saying September. We'll be away. But we could do a call then.
Do you think you could, do you already have one set up for that first week in November? Is that what you're saying?
No, we don't have one. It's later in November.
Okay. Well, if you've got it set, you know, do what you got to do. But if you guys can have it during that second week, it would be awesome. We're really trying to showcase our partnership with them and reach, by all of us having our events with them during that week, they're going to be promoting a lot of our events for us. So it will end up helping you guys out with whatever cities that you're in, because it will be on their pages, their promotional materials that they're already putting out. So if you can make it work, it can help you. If you can't, you got to do what you got to do. But that's what's up for November. We've got 2 regional conferences, one in Casablanca and one in Barcelona. And then we've got the APEC conference, so Asia South Pacific conference in Australia in December. So not exactly too relevant for our region, but we are going to have a Startup Grind regional conference in March, probably in Mexico. So for us, that might be more doable to go to. So for us to be thinking about. And then obviously in December, it's the end of year party. So similar to our summer party, there'll be some beautiful graphics coming out and just a way to celebrate your communities that you guys are working so hard to continue to build. Any questions on what's going on with Startup Grind, things you guys have been struggling with, anything like that that we haven't talked about? Well, then I would love to hear and introduce Kevon and Shania. You guys, we didn't get to hear from you. Tell us who you are and what's some amazing thing that's happening in Jamaica.
Hey everyone, so I'm Kevon. I'm one of the co-directors for the Kingston Startup Grind. And we have Shania here with me. He's the director here. So far, what we've been doing is trying to get some more partnerships with persons so that we can execute a lot of the events. So we had secured one of the partnerships with a university to probably get those spaces, free basically to have those events, some of those events there. We've been reaching out to some of the local businesses within Kingston to see how they would like to support in terms of hosting events and also tapping into those networks. So we have a number of meetings lined up between this week and early November to secure a lot of those partnerships that we've been working on. So we haven't had our first yet, but it should be in November, as we said, after building all those partnerships that we've been working so hard to get.
Nicely done. And our Kingston chapter is pretty new, just in the last month or two. So another one of our new awesome chapters. And I have someone to introduce you guys to, actually. There's a Jamaican woman who has been living in Germany that wants to get involved in your chapter early next year. So once she moves back to Kingston, I'll make an intro to you guys. but she
Yeah,
reached
that would
out.
be
And
great. Yeah.
cool. More to come in Kingston. And then Julio, we never heard from you. What's happening in Buenos Aires? If you're not still on the metro. If you're even still here. Well, maybe we lost him. Anything else, guys? Anyone dressing up for Halloween? We know Sylvia is. Sylvia, what are you dressing up as? Do we want to know?
I am either doing Veronica from Riverdale or Ninja. I'm still figuring it out.
I say Ninja.
I love Riverdale.
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
It's from the Archie comics. They made Riverdale. It's a
I'm
series.
sorry, guys. Nerd alert over here with Sylvia. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll check it out. It sounds cool.
Proud nerd.
Anybody else dressing up? Oh, well, sounds pretty boring, but that's okay. You guys are just hustling so hard to start a grind. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure. Wait, let me do the. Wait, everybody smile. I'm gonna do the. It's gonna take me a hot minute. Okay, ready, set. I'm gonna do picture. Someone just got off the call. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You guys are just great. Looks beautiful. Perfect. Okay.
So just a shout out. If anybody goes over to Vancouver and wants awesome sushi, chat to Henry. I was there 2 weeks ago with him. It was good. It was really
He delivered on the sushi. Is that right?
He delivered on that sushi, man. It was good.
Nicely done. Very cool. Well, it's awesome seeing you guys. I'll let you have the rest of your evenings back. Until next month. Keep crushing it.
Okay.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks meeting everybody. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.
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 Bye.